Hi friends, it's Miss Van Meter here with Magic Treehouse book number 24, Earthquake in the Early Morning by Mary Pope Osborne. When we left off, Jack and Annie were in California on the morning of a major earthquake. They survived the earthquake, but will they get home safely? Let's keep reading and find out. Chapter 4, What's the Story? Maybe we should leave, Jack said in a panic. He wanted to get out of San Francisco before the fires spread. We can't, said Annie. We have to find our special writing from Morgan's library, something to lend. Let's find it fast, said Jack. He and Annie started walking through the rubble. They stepped over piles of bricks, clumps of concrete, and broken glass. They passed fallen lamps and twisted trolley car tracks. They saw houses leaning to one side and people hauling their things out to the street. We can't worry about our mission now, Annie said. We have to help. Help? How? Said Jack. He was so shaky he couldn't think he would be much help to anyone. What about them? Said Annie. She pointed to some men frantically dragging bags out of a building and piling them into a horse-drawn wagon. Annie ran over to the wagon. What are you doing? She asked the men. We're trying to get these bank bags down to the harbor, said the wagon driver, so a boat can take them out into the bay. Why? Asked Jack. So we can save everyone's money from the fires, the man said. He pointed at the sky. The cloud of smoke was growing bigger and blacker. Can we help? Asked Annie. We're done, said the driver. You kids run home to your parents, then get out of the city. Jack wished he and Annie could ride with the driver down to the bay and be safe from the fires too, but he could see the wagon didn't have room for them. Good luck, said Annie. Don't forget what I told you, the driver said. Then he and his horses took off. The wagon turned onto the main street and disappeared over the hill. I wonder who we can help, said Annie. Jack took a deep breath. I don't know, he said. Maybe I'll take some notes. Jack pulled out his notebook and in a wobbly handwriting he wrote, bank money, wagon to bay, then boat. Hey, what's the story? A woman asked. Her voice sounded urgent. Jack looked up. A man and woman stood in front of them. The woman wore a long dress and carried a notebook. The man wore a suit. He carried a big camera and a three-legged stand. What story? Asked Annie. The story with the bank. My name's Betty. I'm a reporter, said the woman. For television? Asked Annie. What's that? Said Betty. Never mind, said Jack. He whispered quickly to Annie. She's a newspaper reporter. TV hasn't been invented yet. Oops, said Annie. So what's the story with the wagon that just left the bank? Betty asked Jack and Annie. Jack looked down at his notebook. They're going to save the money by taking it to the bay and putting it on a boat, he said. Good reporting work, Sonny, she said. Get a picture of the bank, Fred. The photographer set his camera on the stand. He put his hand under a blank curtain and took a picture. Got it, said Fred. As the photographer packed up his equipment, Betty turned to Jack and Annie. Go home and get your parents, kids, she said. Fires are burning out of control. We know, said Annie. By the end of 3 days, the fires will burn down nearly all of San Francisco. Betty looked curious. How do you know that? She asked. She's just guessing, Jack said quickly. Pretty gloomy guess, said Betty. Tell your folks not to catch the ferry. Thousands are crowding into the ferry building. Go to Golden Gate Garden Park. Thanks for the tip, said Annie. Thanks for the story, said Betty. Then she and Fred hurried away. Jack and Annie looked around. Now, many people seemed to be fleeing their homes. Some were going up the hill, some were going down. An old woman was pushing a wheelbarrow filled with pots and pans. A girl was carrying a suitcase and a cat. A boy was carrying a bird cage and a fishbowl. They're all going in different directions, said Annie. I wonder where Golden Gate Park is, said Jack. Maybe we should go there. Let's see if there's a map in our book. Jack looked in their research book and found a map of San Francisco. Where are we now? He said. As he looked for a street sign, he saw a man carrying an armload of books out of a beautiful building. The man put the books into the back of a horse-drawn wagon. What's he doing? Asked Jack. I bet he's saving those books, said Annie. Saving books, said Jack. He loved books. For a moment, Jack forgot his fears. He forgot about trying to save himself. We'd better help, he said. Come on. Chapter 5, Stop, Stop. Jack and Annie ran up the street to the book wagon. The man was carefully stacking the books in the back of the wagon. He was covered with dust and his glasses were cracked. Hey, what's the story? Annie asked the man. Jack couldn't help smiling. Annie sounded just like the newspaper reporter. I'm moving all the rare books to the pavilion, the man said. Can we help? Asked Jack. Sure, there are only a few left by the door, said the man. Grab 'em, hurry. The fires on Market Street will soon be blowing this way. Jack and Annie ran into the building. Near the door were 2 small stacks of books. Jack and Annie each grabbed up a stack. The books looked very old and fancy. Some even had sparkling gold on their covers. "Wow," whispered Jack. He and Annie carried the books outside. "Careful, please," said the man. "All these books are treasures, ancient Bibles and hand-painted books." The man carefully took the books from Jack and Annie's arms and put them in the back of the wagon. "Thanks," he said, pushing his hat back. "Run home now. The fires will be here soon." As the horses started up the hill, Annie waved and shouted, "Good luck." "I bet he was the librarian," said Jack. He opened his research book and looked for a photograph of the building that had the books. "Here it is," he said. He read aloud. "People tried to save special things, but they did not always succeed. Rare books from a library were moved to the pavilion building. When the pavilion building caught fire, all the books burned. The building that originally held them did not burn at all." "Oh no," cried Jack. "Stop, stop." Clutching the research book, he ran after the wagon and Annie ran with him. "Stop, stop," they both yelled. They ran as fast as they could over the broken cobblestones and up the steep hill. Near the top, the driver finally heard them and he brought his wagon to a halt. "You can't go to the pavilion," Jack cried. "You have to take them back to the building where they were," said Annie. "They won't burn there," said Jack, trying to catch his breath. "The building you're taking them to is going to burn instead." The driver looked at Jack and Annie as if they had 2 heads. "You kids need to worry about yourselves, not these books," he said. "Go home to your parents. I'll take care of the library." Then the man snapped his reins and went up on over the hilltop. "Come back," Jack cried. They watched helplessly as the wagon bumped down the street over the rubble. Smoke billowed up from the bottom of the hill. "I can't believe it," Jack said. He was close to tears. "We tried, but we couldn't save them," said Annie. She touched Jack's shoulder gently. "All those books." His voice trailed off. "Hey," said Annie, "someone's crying over there, someone with 2 kids. Maybe we can help them." Chapter 6, Something to Lend. A woman in a blue bathrobe was sitting on a crumbling stone wall. She was sobbing into her handkerchief. 2 boys with dark hair sat next to the woman. The boys wore dusty, torn pajamas. They were both barefoot. The younger one was watching the older boy write on a rectangular piece of wood with a chunk of coal. Annie pulled Jack over to the family. "Hi, I'm Annie," she said. The 2 boys looked up. "I'm Peter," said the youngest. "He's my brother Andrew, and she's our Aunt Mary." He pointed to his brother, then to the woman as he spoke. Aunt Mary tried to smile through her tears. "Forgive me," she said. "I'm a bit shaken up." "We are too," said Annie sympathetically. "The house caught fire," Peter said. "We escaped," said Andrew, "but we lost most of our things." "We've even lost our shoes," said Peter. Jack and Annie looked at the boys' bare feet. They were cut and bleeding. "Hey, my boots are just like boys' boots," Annie said. "One of you can wear them." "Take mine too," said Jack. He and Annie started unlacing their boots. "We can't just take your boots," said Annie. "Then we'll lend them to you," said Jack. He and Annie handed their boots to the boys. Thank you," said Aunt Mary. She started crying again. The 2 boys put their new boots on. Then Peter whispered something to Andrew. Andrew held out the piece of wood to Jack and Annie. "Here's something we can lend you," he said. Jack and Annie read a poem the brothers had written on a piece of wood. "There is no water and still less soap. We have no city, but lots of hope." "Thanks," said Annie. "It's a great gift," said Jack. "We needed some hope." "It's the only thing we can lend you," said Andrew. "Lend?" said Annie. She looked at Jack. "Oh, wow, they just gave us the special rating, something to lend." Jack smiled. They could go home now. "You should go to Golden Gate Park. That's what a reporter told us," he said to the boys and their aunt. "Is that where you're going?" asked Aunt Mary. She had stopped crying at last and looked stronger. "We have to go home to our parents," said Annie. "Will you be safe?" asked the aunt. "Yes, once we're home, we'll be safe," said Jack. "Thanks for lending us your boots," said Peter. "You're good friends." "You're good friends," said Annie. "You've helped us more than you know," said Jack. "Be careful," said Aunt Mary. "We will," said Jack and Annie. They waved as their new friends headed off to the park. Jack sighed. "Ready?" he said. "Yeah," said Annie. "I guess we just go back the way we came." Jack looked down the street. Smoke billowed up from the bottom of the hill. "That might not be as easy as it sounds," he said. All right, Jack and Annie have what they need. It seems there's still more smoke coming, which means fire. We'll have to keep reading tomorrow to see if they are able to escape. Keep reading, friends.